it came to a point where I was dating my boyfriend and things just went really downhill. He was a drug addict and he was cheating. Lots of typical addict behavior was going on, and I had just had enough. But things had just also built up to a point where I felt like I wasn't living
Hmm.
anymore. Like I just happened to be existing, and I didn't want to do this, honestly, anymore. And I have had issues with suicidal thoughts ever since I was a teenager.
Hmm.
But this was something totally different. Just having a thought of not wanting to be here was very different from having a plan. Like I had put a plan in motion. I knew what I was going to do. I knew when I was going to do it. And everything was honestly set up. Um, and it was the evening that I found your Facebook post.
I did not know
So
that.
it was
Uh,
you finding your Facebook post had literally saved my life in more ways than one. And it has totally changed my life in every way possible for everything that I was always searching for and trying to figure out and trying to learn how to do. So, this program has totally transformed my way of thinking and how I react to people, how I speak to people, how I hold myself, how I look at myself, how I feel about myself. And when tragedies happen or issues come up or there's problems and arguments, like I no longer have that daunting task of just trying to stuff it in another box that's already overflowing with everything else in life. And I've been in and out of all kinds of therapy with um, counselors, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. I've been on every kind of medication. I went to my local church and joined like a women's group. I was more involved in my church. I read my Bible all the time. Like I was trying so desperately to find something to just give me that clarity to make me feel like I was on the right path. And this is absolutely everything that I feel like everybody needs. Because I feel like we don't really learn how to truly deal with problems. People are just always like, just, oh, just get over it. Or um, they tell you like bad things, like, go fight somebody or just have a drink. Like, that's not a way to really cope. And this is something your program, I believe everybody should really learn how to do. It's kind of like going through high school and they teach you like home economics, like how to cook and clean and sew and stuff like that. Like this to me is something, this is a life coping skill. This is everything that I feel like everybody should need. They do need. They should have to go through it. They should want to go through it.
well, I'm almost speechless. I don't know what else to ask. That's I mean, I didn't know a lot of that stuff you just told me. I didn't know it was at that level.
Yes, it makes me really sad to think about it now,
Mhm.
and especially like hearing or knowing other people that say those things, it makes my heart hurt for them. Knowing what it's like to be in that place, whether they're serious or not. I'm one of those people that anytime anyone talks about taking their own life or suicide, I take that very seriously.
Mhm.
Um, Especially being there, but also with my counseling background. But it's a very serious thought process, especially if there's more put into it. So my heart hurts for people when they talk about that. I don't necessarily like jump right into, hey, you got to meet Lance, or I have the perfect solution for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's definitely one of those, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about this. Like, if you're comfortable enough, like, I'm absolutely here to listen. But it's Jason and I talk about that sometimes, and it makes me sad to know that it had truly gotten to that point. And honestly, it all boils down to not knowing how to cope. And there were times when I would see a therapist or a psychologist and they would tell me like what to do. And I'm like, but how do you do that? How do
Mhm.
you deal with this problem? Like, because clearly
Question.
I don't. I don't know the process. Like I want to do this. I'm yearning for this. I'm fiending for this. Like I want this so bad, but no one could ever answer my question until I met you.
Yeah, I'm almost speechless. I didn't know it was at that level. That's incredible. You know, the best way this is, yeah, I almost feel like by asking you a lot of questions would be almost taking away from the beauty of what you just said, because, yeah, the reason why you probably appreciate this as much as you do is because it wasn't so easy.
It was The program was easy. The program is painstakingly easy.
Mhm.
And I say that because there is an awful lot of content, and given my job and my position, like there wasn't a whole lot of time to do that or to listen to them. But the program itself, getting up every day, doing your practice, boosting your victories, let's be honest, that is very, very easy. It's incredibly easy. It's almost like this can't be true.
Or at least straightforward.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
incredibly straightforward too. And I feel like as humans, we overcomplicate the process. Like nothing can be this easy.
Mhm.
Nothing real or true could ever be this easy. Like there's got to be something more. It's got to be a lot more difficult, and it isn't.
Mhm.
It really is just truly getting up, doing your 30 minutes.
Don't spill the beans. Otherwise, here's the problem. Otherwise, someone's gonna watch this. I can do it now. They won't have any fucking idea what they're doing. So it's like, you have to be careful because so many people. Here's the thing, Barbara. You don't have to feel bad for anybody. Like one of the reasons I don't shed tears for people is because I assure you, I know what you went through. I know very, very well what it's like to go through the same exact life experience. That's why I'm so passionate about it. But in the end of the day, I did it, and I work with people all the time, just like you, that did it too. And everybody's smart at some level. They understand. We go to school for a reason. We go to school to learn skills we don't have. Ultimately, it's up to other people. If they want to make life very hard for themselves, I'm not going to shed tears for that. At the end of the day, we all need a little help sometimes. I mean, I look at my life and I'm like, I can't believe how lucky I got, and the fact that I realized I needed support, and I went and I said, you know what? There's different levels of support. I'm going to go for the very, 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 very best, and everyone has the option to do that. Even if they're going through a challenging time, they can still say, you know what? I'm going to find the way and make the fucking way. I did it, and I work with people all the time that did. So at the end of the day, you don't have to feel bad for people. They know everyone's smart enough to know there are people out there, if they're willing to go to that Harvard highest level, they can find people that can
Or
check the odds in their favor. There's always that Andre Agassi, there's that Michael Jordan. There's always a way to get that. So, but yeah, like the danger is if there's too many people out there that are really, for lack of a better phrase, half-assing it. It's like, dude, you're not, it makes me laugh, not in a good way, when I look at how people live in this world where they embrace the idea of going to school to feel confident in their career. They embrace going to school to learn skills because they understand if you want to succeed in this very, very, very fucking tough world, that's a necessity. But why don't they do that in their relationships? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying your relationships, what do you have? You have fucking zero. And it's amazing to me
yes,
that people don't embrace the same level of, I need to go to school, I need to learn certain skills. Obviously, being great relationships is a skill, and it behooves me to learn that stuff here. It's amazing to me how few people embrace that and really half-ass it in this way, and they make their life very, very, very difficult. But yeah, there's too many people out there that are really looking for this shortcut. And it's like, dude, why would you do that to yourself? So it's like, I really want to, at the end of the day, life is not complicated. You want the best life, then go to Harvard. You want the best life, work with Andre. There's always that way to shift the odds in your favor. But I'll tell you the best way you can help people is, I mean, there's nobody who's going to listen to what you just said there and not feel what it was like. And I assure you, I know damn well what it was like from a first person standpoint. That's what I'm so passionate about, because I know how to get out of there permanently. Doesn't mean you don't have challenges from time to time, but it means we're still in control. And that's what your freedom
yeah.
is. The best way you can help people, especially when they hear your story, I don't even want to ask you a lot of the questions, because like you told me stuff there, I didn't even know about how things were. And that's what makes me feel really grateful to be able to be part of your journey, your ripple, like what, your life. But the easiest way to help people is let them know because there's gonna be people that relate to what you said there. I'll ask you one simple question. Barbara, how do you feel about your future now?
My future now is exciting. Um, I'm excited even just about waking up during the day, just to see like what today has in store. And even if it's not the best day, it is still better than my lowest day. And
Mhm.
that's what's really important. It's important that like I feel like now like I take in the sunshine hitting on my face. I love having the windows down on my car and I really like find myself sitting in that moment, like feeling the wind like kind of go like through my fingertips and like how it brushes across my face and how the sun feels. Like I am in the moment during my days enjoying even the littlest things that life has to give me. And it's not about having the newest car. It's not having a great paying job. It's not about, reaching these milestones that I want, although that's part of it. But for me, like I've always been trying to search and find a way for me to just enjoy being me and
Mhm.
enjoy what life has to offer. And that's what's happening now. And it's crazy to think something so simple as this program,
Mhm.
how it literally touches everything in your life. It
Mhm.
doesn't just change how you think. It changes how you speak to people, how people react to you, how the world shifts
Mhm.
towards you. And it opens up so many different doors that you have no idea were even in line for you.
Mhm.
And it's truly incredible. It's truly amazing. I'm excited about my future. I have no idea what it holds, but for once in a decades, I have been really excited to see what comes next.
Wonderful. It's interesting what you said there, Barbara. Like even just looking at some of the simple things there are a lot of people out there right now that are not excited about waking up tomorrow morning and they
I've
dread.
been there.
Yeah, I know what that's like too. But there are a
Yeah.
lot of people out there, and it's a shame because there are a lot of people out there that don't know how to enjoy those simple pleasures. They don't realize what you learned is not a fucking concept. You went to a different kind of gym. You built a different kind
Mhm.
of muscle. That's why you're able to do that. So many people trying to read their way to the winner's circle or talk their way, complain their way, vent their way with a psychologist, therapist. They're getting solutions with no solution, just generic cookie cutter. You need to love yourself. Hey, just
Oh,
control emotions, and they're not learning a simple process way to strengthen biologically the way that would give them the ability that you now have to enjoy those simple things, such as just really being excited about waking up tomorrow. What a shame that is. So many people live their whole
yeah.
life completely oblivious to what they're capable of. But one of the best things you did for people here is because a lot of people will feel what you said there, and they understand how hard or if almost impossible it is to really just, like you just said too, enjoy being you. But you have that now. And that's game, set, match. If you can enjoy being you, you can enjoy getting up, enjoy the simple things, and for the first time ever, not be at the mercy of your external world and actually enjoy being in your body. That's a whole different way to live. But if to anyone listening to this here, that's not a concept. The reason why, if some of you out there have been failing and struggling for many, many years or decades, it's because you've not addressed it the way it needs to be addressed. It's a different kind of muscle. If you don't feel good and confident physically, well, what's the path to get there? Do you complain about it? Do you vent about it? You talk to your friends, oh, I'm weak. I can't run a mile. Like, what's the way to get there? Or do you need to get the fucking workout and lift those weights and strengthen those muscles? If you
Yeah.
strengthen muscles, you're much more capable physically. You feel more confident physically, but that's because you dressed it for what it is, a muscle. This is a different kind. For anyone listening here that's going through a really hard time, if you're having a really hard time, there's a reason why your counseling and therapy and conventional band-aid nonsense is not working. At the end of the day, those are
Yeah.
just concepts. You're not going to feel better, just like in your career. You would not feel better in your career if you complain to your friends why you're not succeeding. You'd have to go back to fucking school. You need to get mentored. You need to do your repetitions. This is not different. You have to embrace this, address it for what it is. It's a different kind of muscle, a different kind of wiring. But if you don't address that, life tends to be very, very, very hard. But at the end of the day, it's not complicated, but the complexity is in the execution. For anyone listening to this here, stop fucking half-assing it. Barbara will tell you we've gotten a lot of calls together. There's a lot of feedback. You have no idea if you're fucking doing it right unless you get a feedback mechanism from someone who knows what they're doing. Just like in tennis, you'd want Andre Agassi to correct your form, give us little course corrections. It's not complicated once you have it, but to get it, you do need that feedback. Stop half-assing it. If you're not enjoying your life, you owe to yourself to leave no fucking stone unturned. You don't get any extra points for reinventing the fucking wheel. Stop doing that. You owe it to yourself to enjoy your life. Life is not fucking complicated unless you want to make it very complicated. But anyway, I'll ask one last question here because you have such an interesting story, Barbara. Not only your background, but you did this with your partner essentially. So
Yep.
how does this change things? The fact I know he has not finished the program, but he has
Yep.
a good foundation, and I'm sure you
Hmm.
guys have talked about it quite a bit. The fact that you
Yes.
actually had your partner want to do this essentially with you, how's that changed things with you and him?
So, a little bit of a backstory for those that are listening. Jason and I had only been together for about a year. He was an active addict at the time. Very difficult situation. He was very, very bad. Um, we ended up separating, and whenever I live in South Carolina at the time, he lived in Pennsylvania when I went back for Christmas. We ended up reconnecting, and he was just coming off of a 3-week binge.
Mhm.
Looked awful, but when I sat down and talked to him, he was really ashamed about how he looked and how he felt and how drastic of a change um, the drugs had taken both with him and physically. And he started crying and he said, B, I don't want to do this anymore. And I felt it and I knew it. And I knew what your program had already done for me. And I was only doing it for 2 weeks at that point. But honestly, day two, I felt a shift in myself.
Mhm.
So I knew I had something that could help him. And I said, listen, I'm not done with this program. Just starting it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you how it's already helped me.
Mhm.
And I said, you may not want to do it, and that's totally fine. Um, but I think this could really help you because a lot of addicts end up struggling with the things and that they've done or how they went about getting their next high and the demons that they fight on an everyday basis. It's mainly mental, and that's what ends up driving them to use again, along with the addiction process. But I knew if he could really truly put everything he had into the program, this would help him.
Mhm.
May not make him sober, it may not keep him sober, but it would at least help him with some of those demons that he fights.
Mhm.
And he said he'd do it. He'd give it a try and he'd sign up because he had been in and out of prison. He was in and out of different programs. He's very program savvy. So for him to go back to a rehab, he's going to ace that.
Mhm.
But that's not going to address the real true issues and the problems of why he uses. So he signed up with Lance, and we've been going through this together. I was ahead of him a bit. So I'm graduating first, and he's still going through the program. He is loving life. He still struggles sometimes with how to respond or how to react to things, but that will all come in time. He's doing very, very well. He loves getting up in the morning and doing his practice. His therapy or where he feels truly like at home is the gym. So after his practice, he spends an hour in the gym working out. So he feels better about himself. He feels better about his situation and where he's at in life. And um, he is actually up for a promotion at his job. Not a coincidence.
No, not at all.
Not at all. So we're hoping, I'm sure you'll edit this part out, but once he ends up getting that promotion, he wants to give you the rest of the money to finish the program.
Okay, I will edit that out.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't edit it out. It sounds pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Uh Yeah, that,
We are communicating better now than we ever have. We have a much more solid foundation in our relationship. We actually sit down and talk things out. We're not arguing, yelling, screaming. There's nothing thrown. There's no get the heck out of the house kind of thing. Like we
yeah.
sit down and have actual mature conversations about, okay, what just happened? Why didn't it work? Or how can I not do that anymore so that you don't feel the way that you did? Like it's a great it's a great thing. It's a great relationship. So we're doing very well together, and how things are panning out. Just I really can't complain about it.
This
It's
was
truly
this.
beneficial if someone does this
Mhm.
and your catalyst brings you to this point, and Jason is and was still is my catalyst,
Mhm.
that if you can do it with with your partner, that would be amazing. Um, it would be a great way to try to really fight to see if like you're meant to be together and kind of go from that point. I really suggest if your partner is willing to do it, to try and do it with them. And if not, definitely you still need to do it. There's a reason why you were brought here. There's a reason why you're watching this video. There's a reason why Lance came up in your Facebook newsfeed. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, awesome, Barbara. I don't have a lot else to ask. Yeah, that like yeah, this is yeah, a lot of people are gonna really relate to what you're saying here.
I
So
hope they do. I hope they take it seriously because, much like you were talking about earlier, if you want a good life and a good job, you go to Harvard. But I feel like there's almost the stigma in society to where we are made to feel bad in investing in ourselves.
mhm.
When people are talking about, oh, well, I have this problem or I have this problem, and I want to go see somebody, I want to talk to somebody, maybe I need a medication because of depression, anxiety, or whatever, then you go see a professional for that. You need your taxes done, you go see an accountant.
Mhm.
Like, I don't see how this would be anything different. Like, I need to learn how to go to this new gym and work out these new muscles and feel better about myself. So you invest in that money for yourself. And it's almost like people are like, oh, I can't spend that kind of money on myself, or that's too much, or there's somewhere else where I need the money to go to. There will always be somewhere else that that money can go. There's always another bill. There's always the car broke down or whatever the situation may be, but you have to invest in yourself first, and it will literally change not only your life but everybody else's lives that you touch as well. This stigma of we can't do things for ourselves or spend money on ourselves is absolute bullshit. It is by far the best thing that I've ever done for myself. I've been in and out of school, in and out of therapy sessions, the medications, like whatever the situation is, or however hard I tried to fight and find this right here. This was my best decision. This was my best investment. Hands down, period.
Well, for anyone out there who will listen to this here, I mean, yeah, if you're ready to invest in yourself, please go to refocusonhappiness.com and just fill out a form and we'll have a conversation. You really don't have to make life hard. I mean, life is going to be challenging no matter
Oh
what,
yeah.
but you can
Yeah.
get a straightforward path. Listen, there's things in life that will absolutely shift the odds in your favor. Like again, going with the Harvard analogy, Harvard does not guarantee $1 million year job, but it does shift the odds tremendously in your favor. You know, everyone here listening to this here, you have to ask yourself if a way better way was put in front of you, do you think you're worthy of it? If you are, then there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, there's certain skills, techniques, processes I don't have. Great, let's learn from somebody who actually has it. Because if you're listening to this and you've been trying it with your friends or family, giving you very generic concepts like love yourself, control your emotions, and they're not giving you a specific step-by-step game plan, they're not helping you. They're only frustrating you. You owe it to yourself, you know, to give yourself the best opportunity, to enjoy your life, and really a shame if you can't enjoy those simple pleasures, such as, waking up in the morning, enjoying being you, having real control of your ability to enjoy yourself even in the midst of a challenging day. So if you're ready to, if you're tired of getting your hand burned on the hot stove and you're ready to invest in yourself, please go to refocusonhappiness.com and let's have a conversation.